Hello, and welcome to another of my series of conversations. My name is John Cornicello. I'm going live on Mondays and Thursdays at 10 Pacific and 1 Eastern. Coming up, we've got Holger Mischke on Thursday, August 6th to talk about photography and his black and white images. Jack Rosnicki's going to be here to do a Q&A session on copyright on the 10th. Michelle Bates is going to come in and talk about plastic cameras on the 13th. And there's more on my webpage at cornicello.com/conversations. Today, my guest is photographer JB Sallee. JB and his wife, Deanne, run a studio in Dallas-Fort Worth area, been in business for 16 years, starting with weddings and expanding to portraits and teaching. So let me introduce to you JB.
Good morning, or good afternoon, I guess.
Still morning for me.
Yeah.
John's another one in Texas. And we got Oregon there, whose name is home today.
Oh,
Hey, John.
no. I made that mistake again.
So there's 3 Johns now. So JB, tell us about your location there.
Yeah, we're in Las Colinas, Texas. It's also called Irving, Texas, where the Cowboys used to play. Now they're in Arlington. And we've been in this storefront for 15 years now. We purchased this and we own the space. And I'll give you a little 3D tour. Not much to it. There's a back room with the restroom and where I set up my computer. Nice little fireplace just to show some large portraits. And we do all in-person sales, but we don't use this location for photography. We actually shoot most of our work outdoors. That's my daughter right there, and she was 6 months old. Old grumpy face.
Adorable.
Now we have 3 girls, and life is crazy. And I lost all my hair last year, so it's a good thing though. It's easier.
What's the age range on the kids?
11, 8, and 4.
Wow. Nice.
And they're at home with their mother right now. My wife is a master photographer as well, so half this work is her work.
Nice, nice. So today we're going to talk about going outside with your strobes.
Yeah.
So what do you got to tell us about that? That's something I rarely do.
Sure. Let me switch to the other computer, and I have a little presentation for you guys. I'm going to turn this mic down. Give me 40 seconds.
2001, 2002, 38, 37.
Michael likes to show off that he can count.
Yeah, it's hear me okay?
Let's see. Hang on a second. Let me get the other window going here.
When he gets to 16, we all fall asleep. So.
Wait. Let's see how many remember this. Wallensack.
Tape
No?
recorders.
Is that
Well, no,
Bueller?
if you said the name Wallensack, that was actually 1 second.
Oh.
Oh.
So JB, are you sharing your screen?
I am right now.
Okay, now I see you there.
Let's see. Well, I thought I was. Why didn't I get up? Share.
Yep.
Play. Move this back. Okay, how's that looking, guys?
Good.
you hear me
Environmental portraits with JB Sallee.
Yeah. You actually said Sallee correctly. I've been a Sally my whole life.
Well, I
When I got
asked
married to my
earlier
wife.
today.
My wife doesn't like to be called Sally. I'm used to it, so it's not a big deal. All right, so I'm sponsored by Queensberry Albums. And if anybody shoots pro photo, the one thing I love the most is the B10 Plus 500 watt second. And when you put on this beauty dish, it goes down to 333 watt second. And then Queensberry is one of our other sponsors as well. They produce beautiful albums out of New Zealand. Check them out. This is one of their books we produce for a client. We sell it for $225 a page. He said, I've got 15,000. I said, let's do a 50-page book. So it always pays to have a really nice, expensive product in your gallery to show off, for sure. Sometimes clients have money to spend. All right, we were established in 2002. Here's just some of our client work. This is our little gallery in Las Colinas, Texas. We're on the canals. And this is our indoor of our gallery that you've already seen. And this is the outside. And this is why we kind of transitioned to environmental portrait photography, is because we have a really pretty environment outside of our gallery to shoot in. And we set up some off-camera lights, make it nice and pretty. Here's one shot. 2-light setup. And shooting indoors, when I'm forced to do it, when it rains outside, this is a workshop in Houston. I can do it, but I don't prefer it. But when I do, it's kind of fun to bring out the gels, MacGyver everything, and make something kind of pretty. Isn't that pretty, guys?
Mhm.
Not so much. But we finish it off like that. So I do a little Photoshop work when I do shoot in the gallery or the studio, just to make stuff like this. When life gives you lemons. This is something we were commissioned to shoot for a boudoir session. They had 50 antique cars in this warehouse in Dallas. And we're like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. Let's bring our lights. Let's bring the cars outside. Use a little available light, use some kickers with the strobes. We get there and he says, we can't take any of the cars outside because it was kind of the ghetto of Dallas and it's very dangerous. He said, if I take them outside, they're gonna rob us. So I said, okay, I guess we gotta shoot indoors. So when I'm forced to shoot indoors, this is kind of how I set things up. Can you guys see my mouse?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's a nice little bonus. So this is a 3-light setup. We've got a light at 135 degrees off camera left on a snoot as a kicker, making this nice rim light over here, and also this light right here, also spilling onto the car. This is a video light, mainly just to focus. It was so dark. And there's another light off camera 90 degrees right with a snoot for more rim light over here. So just a lot of rim light making something pretty. Here's the original shot straight out of camera. I'm backed up about 100 yards, shooting this with a 200mm 2.0 lens, wide open for shallow depth of field. And I wanted to compress and get the reflection in the shot. That's why I picked the 200 for my focal length. And then she was a smoker. She was smoking a cigarette almost the entire shoot. So I took some of the smoke from her cigarette, put it into the tailpipe, and I called it smoking. And there's the finished shot.
That's excellent.
Oh, thanks. 747, we were talking about that. One of my favorite aircrafts. Love to shoot outdoors. This is available light because you can't use strobes and get 6 shots of this. So I shot this high speed just to make sure I grabbed the shot. Down low, shooting up high. And that's pretty much straight from the camera.
Where were you on that?
This is St. Martin, where all the people get blown around with the aircraft coming in. Yeah, it's intense out
I
there.
only got to fly my first 747 last summer to going to England.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't flown one since I was 8 years old, Hong Kong. So it's been a while.
My first flight was on an L-1011 going from New York to Puerto Rico, and it was empty when I was a teenager. It was like the first experience of flying was this giant plane, and I'm alone in it.
Oh, no.
At the end of the week, I flew back in a overcrowded 727, so that was my second flight.
Oh.
JB,
I
when
don't
you,
miss those at all.
when I have a question, JB, if I may, when on the 747 flyover, did you shoot that in a burst?
Yes, just 6 frames is all I could get. At probably 4,000th of a second or something.
Wow, nice.
That's
I had all 6 shots in another presentation, but this was the best one.
Right.
fabulous.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
That's one shot. That's amazing.
Yeah, 1 shot. And this is one of those bucket list shots for me, to photograph a bride with a 747.
No kidding.
So I was excited to do that. Another bucket list shot. This is the British bomber from the 40s. And I actually have the parachute, which we'll see in a second. So next time I go out to Pima Air Museum, I'm going to take my parachute, photograph a bride or something, some kind of subject with this aircraft as well. So that should be pretty fun. This is out in Olympic National Park a couple weeks ago, actually probably a month ago. Time's flying by. Just available light. I think you guys are more experts with light than most of my Zoom meetings. So I won't try to educate you too much on light, but if you're gonna use available light, I like to tell people, don't put the light source, the sun, directly over your head or over your camera. Try to have your light source off camera, like 70 degrees or 80 degrees to get more dramatic in camera. So this is just available light, but it looks like it could be off camera strobe. Another available light, this is the Bonneville Salt Flats. Shooting high noon, I just direct the subject to lift her chin into the sun. And then I shape the dress into a heart. So environmental portrait photography doesn't have to be all off-camera lighting. You can get really pretty stuff with just available light, even at high noon.
Oh, I love
Ski
that.
dunes in Death Valley. Just available light. I just had her toss her veil and run back and forth for about 30 minutes. Shot this with an 85 1.2, and this is the one shot that was perfect in camera.
I hope that was toward the end of the session so she didn't get too sweaty.
Yeah, she was a mess. It wasn't too hot, but it was pretty hot. And this is actually her groom. This is her bridal session. Oops, that's her bridal session, and this is her wedding 2 weeks later. So on the wedding day, I don't set up strobes, just shooting into the sky for a nice clean backdrop. I call this 6 side kicks and a high kick. I love the guy in the middle. He's doing a high kick and he's cross-eyed looking at his foot. You can see that detail. So this got a 96, went lone at PPA, first place. Gia, this one went second place, Gia. So from her bridal session and her wedding, she got 2 major awards. So I love having clients that love to work with us and give us what we need. All right, 5 ways to light your subject. This is a 1 light setup. This is last month in Olympic National Park. Just a simple light setup. Again, this is a 500 watt second strobe with the beauty dish. We're pumping out 330 watts second. Nice and pretty, angling up and feathering.
That's only 1 light?
Just a 1 light setup.
Wow.
I didn't want to put a light over here and a wave come up and take it away. So most times I would do a 2 light setup, but the second light would be back here. 135 off camera with a Magnum hard shell reflector. So this is flipping the Sunny 16. Everybody knows what Sunny 16 is, correct? Thumbs up. Good. So if you have the light source, you have the sun on your subject, you set your camera to f16, 200th of a second, ISO 100, and you can start from there. This is flipping it. We're going to go wide open at f2, 4,000th of a second, 100 ISO. And why are we doing this? Why are we shooting wide open?
Want to blur the background?
Yes, ma'am. We want shallow depth of field in camera so it's nice and soft and the attention goes right to the subject. So this is straight out of camera. You can tell because she's got tan lines. I would usually take that out. So John, do you know Jonathan Penny?
I do not.
Oh, he's in New York. He's a master printmaker. Back in the day of film, he'd take people's negatives and make beautiful stuff like this with overlays and advanced darkening technique. And now he's a digital print master, and he actually touched this one up for us. It's quite beautiful, I think. So this is a 1 light setup. We had the OCF Beauty Dish on that Pro Photo Light 500 watt second. And I like to put the light source where the light is actually coming in from the Bethesda terrace. So the light source is coming this way with available light. So I add the strobe on this side to not fill the shadows, but actually add more light to the dramatic side and make it more dramatic. So most people, when they start out with off-camera lighting, they're gonna put the subject over here and light the shadow side. And I actually like to fill the highlight side and make more highlights and more drama. Single light source, putting this light source down on the ground so it's a little more dramatic. So you can go left, you can go right, you can also go high and low with your light to add more drama with off-camera directional light. Second beach, Olympic National Park. This is a 1 light setup. And there's the light source. And if you can tell, the sun's back here. It's about 10 a.m. It's coming from behind her. It's lighting up the veil nice and pretty. So I'm gonna take this light source and light her from this side, and then take out the light source in Photoshop and make something pretty. This is called Until Death Do Us Part. And I had 1 judge in competition give this a 64, way below professional standard. So what I've learned with environmental portraiture, if you submit this and you have someone that shoots landscapes for a living and they're a master landscape artist, they're gonna tear you apart on the shadow detail and the direction of light and all that stuff. He was saying that the light source on her face wasn't natural, and it should be a natural light since it's outdoors in the nature. So I disagree with that, but this is one of our past brides that lost her marriage tragically, and we did this little scene for her.
Beautiful work.
Thank you. I'm losing my toggle, sorry. There we go. This is Ruby Beach in Olympic National Park. You would think I live in Seattle. Yeah, I've only been here 3 times, and I just love this area. So this is the first time I went. This is a bride and groom from Dallas, Texas. They flew me out to shoot the bridal session day 1 and their engagement session day 2. And for 6 hours, for 2 days, I photographed this couple. And this is Roy. And Roy love skipping these stones for 2 days straight. And the whole 2 days are like, Roy, get over here. We got to shoot. It's time to shoot. So the very last shot of the very last day, I said, Roy, go skip your stones. And I set up one light source on her. I put her in the light. I put him in the darkness. And I felt this is kind of their story, you know? This is their storytelling piece on their wall. And of all the images I shot 3,000 images in 2 days. This is by far their favorite because it told their story. She's always looking for Roy, and he's always skipping stones. So I try to tell a story with the environmental portrait work. All right, let's move on to a 2-light setup. This is in Bonneville Salt Flats. Here's a little video for you guys of me directing this scene.
All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Perfect. So we got a 2-light setup. Again, I'm going to put my main light with the sun coming in. I want more drama on this side. And anytime I toss a veil or a dress, I like to put a kicker over here, 135 degrees off camera, feathered up. Then this one for more drama, going up high, shooting down low. And then this was a 3-image photo merge. So I'm going to shoot left, shoot right. You see the little pieces of dress. Lightroom's going to line it up for me and make something like that. Straight from the camera, shallow depth of field, high speed sync. Same thing, shallow depth of field, high speed sync, 2-light setup. This is Cannon Beach in Oregon. And here's the shot straight out of camera. So we've got our main light, roughly 60 degrees off camera left. We got the kicker right here, which you can see right there, feathered up again. Without that kicker, we're not going to see all this pretty light on this panel, and also the separating light on her waist, and also the kicker on the hair. So I love shooting with 2 lights. So I get my 15 shots. I pick out what I like best. I shoot left, I shoot right. I merge these. I take this image, drop it into this, and then I clean everything up, take the people out, and make something like that for our clients.
I would imagine you're on tripod.
I'm never on a tripod, John. I've got so much junk I got to carry already with the lights. I just hand stitch it. Actually, a Lightroom does all the work for me. It lines everything up. And then for this part, it's pretty easy just to grab this in a marquee tool in Photoshop, drop it on top, switch this blending mode to difference mode. When everything lines up, it turns all black. Turn it back to normal and just erase or layer mask just for her.
Nice.
You definitely have to pre-think when you do stuff like this, where the person's going to line up. If she's going to go through the haystack over here, it's going to be a little bit more work, but it's pretty easy to make it work.
Shooting loose looks like it helps too.
Definitely does.
Okay, thanks.
Another 2-light setup. This is my other go-to lighting, 90-90. So main light, always with that beauty dish for soft light on her. Then we have the kicker with the Magnum for a little rim light. And you can see the effect you get. A lot of people I see in forums and Facebook groups will say, I don't like off-camera lighting because it looks unnatural. And I say, precisely, that's the whole point. We're trying to make something dramatic like this. So it's just another tool in your arsenal belt to pull out and impress your clients. Because we can shoot this scene all day long with no strobes and get some pretty nice stuff. But you can't get this look without strobes.
Mm-mm.
And we can still set up the lights where they look a little more natural, like that. It doesn't look too stroby to me. Difference is sunny 16, high noon, shady 5.6, no full sun, and high noon once again. Little clouds, probably F11. Another 2-light setup. We had hard light on the jet, high noon, shooting straight down on the jet. That's why we get this nice dramatic lighting on the jet, which is really pretty. So I wanted to mimic that light, put on the hard shell reflectors, shot into the lights, roughly 65 degrees off camera, 135 on this side. Take my 15 shots, get the perfect shot of the bride, take everything out of the shot, line up the 2 in difference mode in Photoshop, erase, bring her back, and get something like that. So it takes a little time. You got to pre-think this, but you can really come out with different looking work for your clients. You can shoot the natural stuff and then set up your lights just for one pretty scene. See what they're going to pick. 9 times out of 10, our clients pick something like this because the eye doesn't see this.
So you're actually compositing her in?
Technically, yes, it's a composite, but if I shot this on a tripod, it's pretty easy just to merge the 2 together and layer mask her through.
And
So
so
it's-
which layer were you putting on difference? Her?
Yep, if I took this, did a marquee of just her, and then slapped it on top, put this layer into difference mode and blending modes, and then you'll line up the jet, is what you want to line up. And you want to shoot it pretty quick when the clouds are going by, because you're going to have to line that up as well. And then for the clouds down here, just to clean it up, you can see that there's a bunch of junk, a bunch of aircrafts. I simply took this cloud, flipped it, stuck it over here. You can see that is the same as that. I took this piece, flipped it, stuck it over here. And this is right there. So yes, technically a composite.
Yeah.
Although I don't do a lot of composite work just because it's not my forte. It's not what I enjoy. I don't want to be on the computer. I want to be out shooting with aircrafts or haystacks. All right, this is Flip the Sunny 16 again, f2 4,000th of a second, ISO 100. When you shoot high-speed sync with these ProPhoto strobes, you're going to lose 2 stops of light. So we're just going to move it up about halfway. So instead of being 8 feet away, now we're about 5 feet away from the subject. Once again, we have that kicker. You can see nice little lines here, extra light here, extra little highlights that are really nice on the finished image. So anytime you see me shooting with the dress or a veil, I'm going to have that second light going off. There's the finished image.
What's the lens on that last one?
Good question. 28 to 70, 2.0, 6.6 pound mirrorless lens for Canon, $3,000. I love this lens. It replaced my 24, my 35, my 50, my 85 prime. So this is like having 4 prime lenses in one. It's a 2.0 all the way through. So it's a beast, especially on a little tiny mirrorless camera. But man, it produces some great images. And almost every single one of these shots is the same lens. Everything we've seen so far is that one lens.
Is that 24 to 70?
28 to 70.
28?
VR.
No, the 24 to 70 is the VR kit lens. You want to stay away from that. And I am sponsored by Canon, so I probably shouldn't say that. But we had it and we sold it right away. It just wasn't crisp like this one is. This is the 28 to 70, $3,000, 2.0. Then I've got the 50, I've got the 70 to 200. But honestly, I never change my lens anymore. It's kind of nice.
Nice.
So you're shooting the R?
Yep, we're shooting the R. I've got the 5R on order right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's a 3-light setup. This is our Lake Louisville down the street from our house. We've got a kicker here, 135 left. Kicker here, probably about 100 degrees off camera right. And then the main light with that beauty dish. We have the hard shell for Dallas, and I travel with the soft one. And we shot this entire senior session with no strobes. And then I brought up the lights just for one shot. And what do you think they bought for their wall portrait? They bought something that's just more dramatic, that you don't see every day. So this really pays off. It's expensive bringing all this stuff out. Each one of these is $2,000. That's $6,000 in lights. And then $800 for this, $150 for this. So it's $9,000 in lights, or $7,000, sorry, I can do math. $7,000 in lights, but it always pays off. We always sell big, large wall portraits of these dramatic images.
That's not your glass or camera either.
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
This is a 3-light setup. Shot this in Dallas, Texas on a rainy day, on a wedding day. And I remember walking into the W at the Ghost Bar. That was their venue. And the bride's in the corner crying. I was like, why are you crying? She goes, it's raining outside. I go, but your wedding's indoors. She goes, I know, but I booked this venue when it was sunny outside and all the light was bouncing off all these mirrors. I mean, this is 100 and something feet of these mirrors, 12 feet tall. It's a beautiful venue. And she goes, and now it's dreary outside and gray, and they're just reflecting gray everywhere, and it's sad. I go, give me 10 minutes. Let me set up some lights. So I set up 3 lights. I took this one shot, and she stopped crying. And she goes, you saved my wedding day. And then she goes, can you mimic this for the rest of the wedding for 8 hours? Like, oh, shit. So I had to set up 3 lights for the entire wedding day, the reception, to make it look bright and fresh like this. But that's the point. If you're a legit professional wedding photographer, you should know how to use off-camera lighting and to save someone's wedding day.
So what's your split between weddings and portrait work these days?
We shoot 12 weddings a year and 100 portraits nowadays.
Okay.
And next year, I'll probably drop that load just a bit. My wife does shoot full-time still. I'm doing a 50-city tour next year for our sponsors. So I'm probably not going to shoot any portraits, and only 6 weddings will be my max. So whenever I get bored of shooting, I go speak and do workshops. So it just kind of goes back and forth throughout the years. This is a 3-light setup. We got 2 strobes on the bride and then 1 strobe on the camera. Just to light up the camera.
You think the economy is going to hold for what you've previously charged?
Oh, hell no. No, we're in trouble. If we were just a business, we'd probably be out of business. It's been rough. All of our weddings, except for 2, pushed to 2021, and they took our prime Saturdays. So now we have 10 less prime Saturdays to shoot weddings. So not only are we missing out on the second part of the retainer fee for this year, we're going to miss out on 10 prime wedding dates for next year as well. So it's rough. And
Right. How about the charges for the actual wedding?
What's
You
that?
think the charges for the actual wedding, you think those prices will hold?
We've already dropped our pricing. We've told people if you move your wedding to a Friday or a Sunday, we'll shoot it for half just to keep our business afloat. I mean, we're willing to drop our price if we have to feed our kids. Our average is $12,500 per wedding.
Oh.
And I just don't think we'll get that for a long time. And
JB,
people that had really, yeah, sorry, John.
I'm sorry. I've got a couple of friends in Central Texas, and even down here in South Padre Island. I'm seeing a trend for elopements. Have you thought of possibly shifting or directing towards that market where creating epic stuff? Because again, the images is what lasts, and capturing them as a personality, but in an elopement setting.
I would love that. I mean, that's my jam, is to go out and set up lights and get one epic shot.
Right.
Weddings are tough for me nowadays. I've been shooting for 18 years, 20 years total. I've shot 500 weddings, and it's exhausting. I would love to go out for 2 hours, shoot the elopement, do video of the elopement and the vows, and then set up something really beautiful with their family and then just them. That would be ideal for me. But you know, that's not what people want in Dallas, Texas. They want the entire wedding coverage. So maybe I should move to Orlando.
In New York, we're thinking about doing just the honeymoon.
Yes. Take me to St. Lucia, please.
Hey, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Goodbye.
Heck yeah. That's a great idea. Before we had kids, we actually toyed with moving out to Maui and shooting weddings out there. Just 1 hour, quick, easy weddings at sunset. It's like, we can make a go at that, but we never did. We're still in Dallas. All right, last little subject, paint with light. This is something I love to do. This is a 6-frame time-lapse image, 30 seconds for the Prada store with just available light, and then 1/15 of a second for the bride with 2 strobes. Marry everything together, flatten it, and make something like this. And I'll be back in Prada Marfa September 30th to shoot for the 2nd time ever. I shot this 9 years ago. Paint with light. This is an 11 light source setup. This is the Count and his bride. They own this castle. It's 800 years old in Normandy. And these are all of his ancestors that lived in this castle before him. So when someone gives you a story like that, you got to nail it with light. So we did a little painting with light to make sure we illuminate them, because there's no lights in this castle. It's all candlelit. Well, I say that, you see a lamp, but you know what I mean.
How did you get this gig?
It's actually a workshop I do in France, and I rent out the castle for everybody.
Mhm.
And they just happen to be living in the castle at the time. And I said, hey, let's get some outfits and shoot your pre-wedding image. So here's the light setup on a snoot. This is just the modeling lamps. 1 light on them, 1 kicker like I always do. And then I'm going to light up each person. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this light is down here with the gel. And then 1 light source over here. And then 1 up here with a yellow gel to make it look like the candles are lighting up the wall, just for a little more drama. And 1 here, then 1 with the blue gel for the roof. And then I always take everything out of the shot, take all the lights out of the shot. This is my Photoshop image. And then make something like that. And the nice part in this image, I didn't expect to see the reflections in the glass. And that was a nice little bonus that magically just happened. 5 light setup. He's a pilot, she's a doctor. 37 light setup. This is the castle that we rent in Normandy. There's no lights on the outside, so I use strobes with gels for the outside and then gels for the inside. And that's all I have. And here's my little tour I'm doing in October, 10 cities. If you guys live near any of these cities, it's a full day of shooting with me, the Pro Photo gear and models. It's super inexpensive because the sponsors are paying for most of this. So it's $2.99 a person for a full day shoot. 10 photographers max. We're all gonna wear a mask and be safe with COVID. And should be fun. Oh, also includes a $200 Queensberry sample book. So $300 plus the book, it's only like $100. So you can check those out. There's our dates.
And you've got a bunch of small tutorials on your website, correct? That people can purchase?
Yeah, John, I started doing those and it kind of died off. Nobody's buying them. They're only $9 and I'm putting like 20 hours into each one of these videos. And I only sold like 100 of the first one. I was kind of surprised, but I think it's great educational material. If you're looking for off-camera lighting and different locations to shoot, they're $9 each on our website under tutorials.
So Allison was posting in the chat that she's always loved how you handle the light in that castle scene.
This one or that one?
You can
Yeah.
unmute Allison if you want to say something.
Yeah, again, this is just snoots. You can see the main lights. To control your light, if you don't have the snoots, get some tinfoil. That's what I used to do. I'd have 3 SB800s taped together with duct tape, then a big piece of tinfoil wrapped around it as a big snoot.
Or
That was our first
cinefoil, yep.
off-camera lighting. So you don't
So
have
you're
that.
using Nikon flashes and Canon cameras?
Oh, that's how we started 18 years ago. Then we moved to the quantum system, the T5D-R, I believe.
Uh-huh.
We had those for 10 years, had about 10 of those. And then we moved to Pro Photo 4 or 5 years ago.
So how many, say for this castle scene here, how many lights did you actually have with you?
2,
2, and then you just moved them around and did a plates.
exactly. And John, this one was on a tripod, both Johns.
Yeah.
Oh.
That makes it, you can see it's moving a little bit. I'll be honest, we were all drinking, so.
Hey, why not? It's a castle.
Well, that's part of the workshop. I include wine for everybody for 7 nights. They stay in the castle for 7 nights. We do a 3-day workshop, and then all the wine for 7 nights is included. And man, this group went through it. We had a good time.
You
It's France. It's cheaper than water.
Oh, it is.
Did you just arrange your quality from day 1 to day 7 after wine?
Yeah, we're all best friends by then.
Yeah.
It's fun. We watch movies every night. The off nights we went and did tourist stuff. You know, went to Normandy, went to what's that castle, Mont Saint Michel.
Yeah.
We went there one of the workshop days and had a good time. And it's a neat little workshop. Next time I actually have a chef coming out that's going to cook for us.
You're trying to be the next Greg Gorman. Huh?
Right?
Michael knows who I'm talking about.
The wine part of it, how well do you know Seth Resnick?
Seth Resnick. I know another Resnick.
Oh, Mitchell?
No, the former president of PPA.
Oh, no.
His
No,
name
Seth-
is just Jack Resnick.
Or is that Jack Resnicki?
No, Jack Resnicki.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, we're great friends, as you can tell. I don't even know his name.
Jack's going to be on next week to talk about copyright, so that's
Oh,
just
cool.
a good segue there.
Make sure you tell him that I butchered his name. He'll be like, BJ who?
Now, I have a button from the 70s of Jack's. It just says, just call me Jack, because no one gets his last name right anyway.
Resnicki.
Yep.
Let me come back to your albums and your prints. Who's making all that? Are you doing it in-house?
Oh, no. Before kids, we actually used to design all the books ourselves and then send them. And you guys remember the old days for flush mount albums. You'd have to design it, cut the page in Photoshop from a 10 by 20 spread to 2 10 by 10s, print out the 10 by 10s from your lab. They'd ship them to you in a few days. You'd have to open it, flip all the prints, write on the back 1 through 30 for pages in pencil, repackage it, fill out your paper form for your album company, ship that to your album company, and then they would take it, screw it up, put one page in the wrong place. You'd have to start all over again. It was a nightmare. There's no way I could do that process with kids nowadays. I don't have the time. So nowadays, we shoot the session. The client picks out their favorite 25. We touch them up. We upload those to Queensberry. They design it within 24 hours. Client approves it with them. It's back in 3 weeks. So much easier.
And how is that working with COVID and shipping times and things like that?
They were down for 2 months, and now they're back in production as of May 1st, and they're back to normal.
And shipping between there and the U.S. is doing okay.
You know what I just noticed? Can y'all see that?
Mhm. Yep.
This image got a 96 in competition. I got first place, and that's one of the strobes I screwed up. I never noticed that.
Well, it looks almost like the detail in the mirror.
Yeah.
Except it doesn't match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes. Don't tell anybody.
That's amazing.
I've never noticed that.
I would, maybe you have a tutorial on this, and I'm sure you don't have anything planned for today, but I would love to see some of your editing work, actually when you're in Lightroom or in Photoshop. And
Yeah, I actually have it available right now. It's $9 under tutorials on our website.
okay,
And it's me for an hour just going through all the images and then touching them up in Photoshop and doing the merges and the Photoshop
Great.
work.
great.
I just recorded myself at this screen for an hour and pieced it together. I took out all the ums. I took out about 20 minutes. So it's just one piece of continuous education. And I was hoping it would catch on just to put my kids through college, but it just isn't. I think there's so much free education out there. People don't
Yeah.
even want $9 for a studio that's
true.
been doing it for 18 years. It's kind of
That's
sad.
very true. But when you see an actual image, then I want to know how you did that.
I do too. I'm like,
So,
okay,
I won't put your kids through college, I don't think, but I might find that video. Thank you.
oh, I wish I could find someone to put them through college or just pay for their weddings.
3 girls, yeah.
I know.
Why don't you put your website into the chat?
Sure. It's just my last name, SalleePhotography.com. And if you guys ever like doing international workshops, these are kind of fun. So these are the domestic ones. They're $2.99 a person. You get the free Queensberry book. These are the international ones. The sponsors won't sponsor these because they're not in the US. So I have to pay for all these myself, but I make it worth it. Like the France workshop next year in March, this is our castle. Everybody gets their own suite in the castle, and you get your own bathroom. You don't have to share bathrooms with anybody or bunk beds or any of that crap that I've heard of before. And we shoot out in the castle. We go out to the Mont Saint Michel, and we photograph there for one day. It's $2,500 for one person, includes 5 nights accommodations and all the wine you can drink, or $4,000 for 2 people sharing a room. So it's like a vacation. You write it off, you get some education, you have a good time, drink some wine.
So
Norway
tell us
one-
about the Chernobyl ones.
Yeah, we've done the Chernobyl one. I'm actually supposed to be there next month, but we had to cancel it because they're not letting people from the US in their country for good reason. And then Santorini's supposed to happen in September, but I doubt that's going to happen too. So we're just pushing it back to next year. But if you pick any one of these, go to Norway. That's the most beautiful area in the world I've ever seen. It's just incredible.
Is that Lufton?
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't been there, but I keep seeing photos from there, and it's gorgeous.
It's incredible. And the nice part about going to, is it Lofoten Islands or Lofton? How do you say it?
No idea.
I was saying Lofoten, but that's just me being a Texan. The nice part about going out here, you just drive up to every single location. There's not a lot of hiking. Like the rest of these locations, we really do a lot of walking per day. But this place, you just drive up to locations, start shooting because everything's just gorgeous.
Did you grow up in Texas?
Yep, born and raised Dallas, Texas.
Nice. I got a question in the chat going, which lessons would show the steps to merge and things like that?
Both lessons will do the merge. I kind of do the same lessons in all the tutorials. It's just different images, different locations. $9. Nobody's complained yet. You know what? I'm getting a lot of great feedback saying it's the best education out there for the money. I was like, well, okay, the last part's a little insulting. For the $9.
I know. I've got a book out there that's $9 for the PDF, and everyone that's read it's telling me it's one of the best lighting books they've ever seen. But it's still not selling anything special. But,
It's crazy.
Well, you might like triple the cost because
yeah, I know
people
value.
will perceive value in like, well, if the person who made this says it's only worth $9,
Yeah.
Well, the printed version's 30. That's 3 times. So
Yeah.
Who knows?
No, you're right, Jim. Perceived value is everything, and that's what we've built our business off of. And just our little gallery space, dumping all the money we dumped into it, just to look like we were legit. Because
Yeah.
15 years ago, we weren't legit. We were kids. My wife was 22. I was 25. Everybody walked into our house where we had our home front studio, and they would say, "Oh, where are your parents?" Like the parents are running the business, and we were just the faces helping out. And we're like, "No, we're the actual photographers." So that's why we got a storefront studio. It's just to up our perceived value. That's why we started doing print competition, just to have some crystals on the wall and say, "Hey, we won some awards."
Well,
But
and you've got those in the photo of your space. You've got them in the windows, so they're all well lit. They're very visible. Because that makes an impression with clients. Oh, look, these folks have won lots of awards.
Yeah, that one's kind of backfired. We've had people come in and say, "Oh, you're a trophy shop. We need some trophies for our company." It's like, oh crap! All that work, and we've dumped $20,000 in a print competition. We've done the math over the years because we both submit, so it's double the cost. And people just think we're a trophy shop now. Like not just once, like 20 times people have walked in looking for trophies to be printed. Oops.
Oops. So other
Side
people have
business.
questions.
Yeah.
Feel free to join in here.
I love how well you get the fabric. I don't do weddings, but the one I did for a friend, she loves costuming and she's a belly dancer. And so there was all this fabric, and getting that exposed right was a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. I think why I picked that red dress for last year's tour, it's so much easier to photograph than a white wedding gown. And I've always struggled with maintaining the detail and the highlights over the years, because at weddings, you just don't have the time to properly expose every single image when things are behind, because of hair and makeup is always behind. So we're always pressured as photographers to catch up. So having the red dress it was too easy. I mean, you can't overexpose that red dress. It was great.
And you run into
Thank you.
problems with oversaturation?
Yeah, definitely. Especially with that hard shell reflector, it bounces off that red pretty quick. But you can tone it down pretty easily.
Okay.
These
And that's
trips-
a So Trendy dress, by the way. If you guys want a discount, they're all maternity gowns. I'll go and try to find a dress. Yeah, these red dresses are all the same maternity gowns, but they're on non-maternity models. So we just tie them up in the back. So it fits
Mueller,
everything.
you had a question?
Yeah, the trips over to Europe.
Yep.
How many people go to them, and how do they all get there? Do you all leave from one location, or do you arrive at the same location?
We arrive at the same location, but most times we'll meet up at the airport and just drive caravan. Last year for the France workshop, I rented a 15-passenger van and just split the cost. So instead of $1,000 for me, it was like $100 for everybody. And I just drove everybody out there. And other people that wanted to drive and do other little side trips just rented their own little Mini Cooper. And the cars out there are $22 a day. It's really, really cheap.
But you can't get the airlines to sponsor these events?
I wish.
Well, who do you fly to Norway on?
American Airlines.
You can't get American to sponsor it?
Never even thought about it. I mean, that'd be great. I don't think they're going to do it right now. I don't think they're doing too well.
Right now, they would love anybody to even talk about getting a ticket. Airlines are hurting so badly.
Help me out.
I mean, I'm getting.
And my father's a pilot for American Airlines, so maybe I should have thought of that.
No, well, I'm getting emails from airlines I've got memberships on, and hotels are like, please, we don't care if you come and use us, just give us money. And so now's a good time to talk about, look, you've got all these workshops next year, give us a deal. And you've got how many seats?
It's 15 people max. It's usually 8 photographers, then a few spouses.
Yeah.
We'll tag along for fun.
Yeah, Brett is saying that he's done the Tuscany workshop.
And how are you getting to Chernobyl when you go?
The first time I went, I flew into Munich and then took the train up to Warsaw and then took the dirtiest train, a Russian train, into Kiev from Warsaw. I thought it'd be a beautiful transit for everybody. It was just miserable. I actually got some virus and was sick for a month after the workshop and lost 30 pounds. Thought I was going to die. I was so miserable. I'll never do that again. Don't ever take a Russian train from Warsaw. It's not recommended.
So can you fly from Texas on Aeroflot directly into Moscow or wherever?
I've never heard of Airfloat. What we do now is fly into Paris or Frankfurt or Amsterdam, and it's like $900 for round trip on a 787, which is a really nice aircraft. And then I take Ryanair for $60 from, let's say, Frankfurt to Kiev.
Aeroflot is the official airline of Russia.
Oh, okay. Well,
Like,
it's in Ukraine, so it's not technically Russia anymore, but it pretty much is.
Yeah, well,
So Eliza said she purchased a tutorial, but she's not able to download it. So I don't know if you want to hook up with her offline, maybe. Or,
Yeah, send me. Some computers aren't downloading it because it's so large. So send me a message on Facebook, and I'll send you the link.
And Allison says that she's about to hit up United for her Banff workshop.
Nice. For which workshop? For mine or
Banff.
hers?
For,
Oh, Banff.
for her workshop, I believe.
Nice. Yeah, we're out of Dallas, so American Airlines is the hub here. So it's pretty inexpensive to fly anywhere with American. Pretty much our only choice. Delta's way too expensive out of Dallas because you have to land in Atlanta and then go international. Yeah, that's my other hobby. Hobby is looking up flights. It's a little addiction. Like every week I'll get on there and look for a cheap flight. Last year we found flights to France for $249 direct from Dallas. So I included the flights in last year's workshop. And I filled all the spots in 24 hours. Perceived value.
Yeah.
I haven't found that since. I've been
wait,
looking.
but your father's a pilot for American?
Correct.
Do you still get the discount?
I don't even try to do it. First off, you can't do it. You can't take a buddy pass for work. That's illegal. He could get fired, but I've done it before. But you can't make the flights anymore. They fill up so quick with non-rev. So I rather just pay for my flight and get there on time, get home in time. We went to Hawaii with the family on his passes once, and we got stuck there for 3 days trying to come home.
How do you get stuck in Hawaii?
Well, we kept staying at the airport motel thinking, well, we have to be back there at 6 in the morning to catch our flight. We'd sit there for 4 hours, miss the flight, and then have to do it all over again. So it was, and with 3 little kids.
Oh,
That was miserable.
next time do it in Las Vegas. You get
Yeah.
stuck in Las Vegas.
Okay, well, we're reaching the top of the hour. So I said we're going to have to end this one on time because I've got a doctor's appointment right after this. But I want to thank JB for this here, and sorry about that little interruption earlier.
Your fault.
I think I know how to fix that, and I'll work that out.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. That was
Yeah.
fun.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was very nice.
Thank you. That's a great way to start a Monday.
Yeah,
Yes,
get the blood
beautiful.
flowing.
thank
Yeah,
you.
we'll be back on Wednesday with Holger Mischke and his black and white work, and then next week Jack Rosnicki and Michelle Bates. So I look forward to seeing everyone.
Likewise.
And
Awesome.
JB,
Thank
you're
you,
the
guys.
host, so you're going to have to end the meeting.
Okay, we'll do.
Be well, all. Thanks.
Bye, guys. Have a
Bye.
great day.
Be safe.
Y'all take care.
Thank you.